What are 5 things that a broker can do to make a carrier's life easier? Hey, welcome to Freightskills, and in this video, like we just said, we are going to talk about 5 ways that a broker can make a carrier's life easier. Now, brokers, if you don't already know, are responsible for handling the middle of a transaction between a shipper and a carrier. But there are a lot of things that a broker can do to facilitate the transaction so that a carrier does not dread working with you. We're going to go over what those things are, but before we do, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any freight broker updates or free information that I give out on a weekly basis. We usually do 1 to 2 videos per week, all free freight broker training tips to help you get more shippers, move more loads, and make more money. So the first thing that a broker can do to make a carrier's life easier is by far verifying pickup location information before sending a load to a carrier. The most frustrating thing for carriers is negotiating a load, accepting the tender from the broker, only to show up at the pickup location and be late for an appointment they didn't know about, get loaded with more weight that they didn't know about, or have to wait a really long time because the pickup location wasn't expecting them. All of this stuff can be avoided simply by the broker taking an extra step, making a phone call, and verifying all the load information before sending it or booking it with a carrier. This is part of our normal process in my brokerage. The first thing that we do when we receive a load is we call that pickup location. We verify everything our customer told us, and if there is a discrepancy, we do not make that the carrier's problem. And that's why carriers love working with us, because we make life so easy for them. The easier you can make life for your carriers, the more likely they're going to be to move your freight at fair rates. So do yourself a favor, do your carriers a favor, make sure you are verifying pickup information before you send it to your carriers. Now, the second thing that a broker can do to make a carrier's life easier is to send paperwork quickly. There's a lot of shady business that goes on in the trucking industry. There's a severe lack of technology. Carriers cannot be expected to trust brokers all the time, right? So when you tell a carrier they have a load and you need to get set up, make sure you're sending that paperwork right away, because if they don't see a rate confirmation, they are not booking their truck for you. You have to understand your job is to secure a truck for your customers. The carrier's job is to make sure that they have enough money to run their truck. So not sending your paperwork in a timely manner is selfish for you, because you are booking that truck up so that they can't go out and do what they need to do to make money to move their trucks. You need to send your paperwork as fast as possible, preferably while you're on the phone with the carriers right? So like if you're on the phone, you're negotiating a rate, you come up with an agreement and you say like, okay, carrier, we need to get set up now. I'm sending my paperwork right now. Can you check and confirm that you got it? That's all you need to do. It takes about 2 seconds to send an email with your paperwork, or you can use one of those expensive onboarding services. We just do it manually, but the fact of the matter is we're sending paperwork really fast because we don't want that trucker to think that they're not getting a load, or that we're stringing them along, or that we're lying to them. Send your paperwork fast. The third thing that you can do to make a carrier's life easier is do not harass them for check calls. Hopefully the carrier has a dispatcher in an office who you can call to get a live update on where your freight is. But in general, you want to schedule your check calls for morning, afternoon, and maybe sometimes at night if it's a longer trip. Usually a carrier will tell you, I'm at the pickup location, picked up the load, and I got to the receiver, or I'm running on schedule, I'm running behind, whatever it is. Just try not to text them and call them 100 times a day, because what you don't understand is if you rush a carrier or a driver who's driving and something happens on the result of you rushing them, you can be held liable for irresponsibly placing unreasonable expectations. Now, that was a lot to follow. Let me put that in English. If you rush a carrier, you can be held liable for an accident that they caused because of your unreasonable expectations. So if you're rushing them, like, oh, you got to make this appointment, come on, hurry up, the customer needs this, and they get into an accident, they're coming after you, and they have every right to, because it is not fair for you to tell the carrier who's doing the driving to break the law so that your freight can get delivered on time. right? We have to work together with our carriers. It's our job to calm our customer down, not our carrier's job to rush and get into an accident and not be able to deliver the load. All right, so keep that in mind. Your carriers need to come first when they're carrying your customers' loads. Now, the fourth thing that you can do to make a carrier's life easier is pay them quickly. If you have a factoring company, that's even better. But optimally, you want to pay your carriers quickly without taking a 2 to 5% discount. We pay our carriers standard between 3 to 7 days. Now, that's not possible for every brokerage, but we have worked really hard over the last 15, 20 years in order to get to the level where we can pay our carriers quickly, and our carriers appreciate it. That's why we have so much leverage in the marketplace. When we post a load, we don't really have to worry about it getting covered because we have such a great credit score, and the carriers know that they're going to get paid very quickly. I got an email once from a carrier, and it was just a standard email, just like, here's my invoice and POD. And at the bottom of their signature, it said, fast pay makes fast friends. And that couldn't be more accurate, all right? So if you want to make fast friends in the trucking industry, pay your carriers as fast as humanly possible. And last but not least, the fifth thing that you can do to make your carriers' lives easier and get them to pull more loads for you is to treat them with respect. You have to understand that carriers do have a very stressful job. Truckers are dealing with things that a lot of brokers never really will imagine. Like, I'll be the first one to say, I've never sat behind the wheel of a truck. I don't claim to be able to do it. But I have a humongous amount of respect for all the carriers that do. What I do is I treat them like human beings, like you should. You should not treat them like transactions or money printers or someone who is, not important. Ask them questions about their day. Give them a call after you do the load. They really appreciate when you call them and catch up with them, see what they've been doing. I have about 5 or 6 drivers who call me on a regular basis who I've taken care of over the years, and they always appreciate a check-in, and they always appreciate when you give them time to, just shoot gossip and things like that, right? So ask them about their days, their families, things they've seen, things they've done, where they like to vacation. Just treat them like human beings with respect, and they will give you that respect back. Now, of course, I am not going to let carriers off the hook. I am going to make a follow-up video to this on 5 things that carriers need to do to make brokers' jobs easier. If you haven't noticed, the purpose of this channel is to bring the industry together rather than pick one side over the other. So I do a lot of content about brokering, but we have to remember that carriers also have a part in this industry just as much as brokers do, and we both need to work together in order to be able to prosper individually. If you enjoyed this video, if you got any value from it, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I'd like to know down in the comments, let me know some experiences that you've had with your carriers. What do you do to make your carriers' jobs easier? And carriers, don't be afraid to sign off in the comments. Let me know what brokers do that make you frustrated, because that'll help me make some more videos so that we can start cleaning up this industry even more. So I hope this video helped, and until the next one, I'll see you soon.